Champika Fernando was a diligent woman, known for her commitment to her work and her love for her family. She lived in a quiet suburb of Gampaha with her husband, Sanjiwa, and their young daughter, Nethmi. Life was simple but fulfilling. Every day, she commuted to Colombo, where she worked as an accountant for a private company. The routine was demanding, but she managed to balance her responsibilities at work and home with grace. One evening, a sudden announcement disrupted her routine. An audit had been scheduled for the following week, and Champika's workload had suddenly doubled. The pressure was immense, and her manager had made it clear that the work had to be completed before the auditors arrived. With no other choice, Champika and a few of her colleagues stayed late at the office to finish the tasks at hand. Time flew by as they worked tirelessly, and before she knew it, the clock struck 9 p.m. The office, usually buzzing with activity, was now eerily quiet. Champika packed her belongings, her mind heavy with exhaustion and the realization that she had missed the earlier trains. She called Sanjiwa, asking him to pick her up from the railway station, but he was delayed due to work. Reluctantly, she decided to catch the last train home from Colombo Fort Station. The streets of Colombo were deserted as Champika hurried towards the station. The usual hustle and bustle had died down, leaving an unsettling silence in its wake. The dim lights of the station cast long shadows, and the cold breeze sent a shiver down her spine. She couldn't shake off the feeling of unease that had settled in her heart. As she reached the platform, Champika's anxiety grew. The station was nearly empty, save for a few late-night travelers waiting for the last train. Among them was a woman standing at the far end of the platform, dressed in a simple white sari. Her presence was oddly comforting in the desolate station, and Champika found herself drawn to her. The woman noticed Champika's hesitation and smiled warmly. "Are you heading home too?" she asked in a gentle voice. Relieved to have someone to talk to, Champika nodded. "Yes, I missed the earlier trains, and this is the last one for the night. I'm feeling a bit nervous about traveling alone." The woman nodded sympathetically. "Don't worry, dear. I'm going to Gampaha as well. We can travel together. It's always safer with company." Grateful for the offer, Champika struck up a conversation with the woman. She learned that her name was Kusum, and that she had once lived in Gampaha before moving to Colombo. Kusum's voice was soothing, and as they chatted, Champika's fears began to dissipate. The train arrived shortly after, and the two women boarded together. The journey was quiet, the rhythmic clatter of the train's wheels providing a backdrop to their conversation. Champika felt an odd sense of calm in Kusum's presence, as if she had known her for years. They spoke of family, work, and the challenges of life in the city. Kusum was kind, her words filled with wisdom and warmth. As the train approached their destination, Kusum's demeanor grew somber. "You seem like a good person, Champika," she said softly. "Life is precious, and we should cherish every moment with our loved ones." Touched by the sincerity in Kusum's voice, Champika smiled. "Thank you, Kusum. Your words mean a lot to me." The train pulled into the Gampaha station, and the two women disembarked. The station was dark and quiet, the only sound being the distant hum of crickets. As they walked towards the exit, Champika felt a deep sense of gratitude towards Kusum. She had made what could have been a terrifying journey into a comforting experience. "Thank you for accompanying me," Champika said as they reached the entrance to the station. "I don't know what I would have done without you." Kusum smiled, but there was a sadness in her eyes. "Take care, Champika. And remember, some journeys we must take alone." With that, she turned and walked away, disappearing into the night. Champika watched her go, a strange feeling of melancholy settling over her. She called Sanjiwa, who had finally arrived, and they drove home together. It was only the next day, as Champika recounted the events of the night to a colleague, that the true horror of her encounter began to unfold. "You said her name was Kusum?" her colleague asked, a note of concern in her voice. "Yes, she was very kind," Champika replied. Her colleague's face paled.
"Champika, there's something you should know. Years ago, there was a woman named Kusum who lived in Gampaha. She was well-loved in the community, known for her kindness. But one night, as she was returning home from Colombo, she was attacked and killed by a group of thieves near the station. Her death shocked everyone, and it is said that her spirit still lingers, helping lost travelers find their way home.
Champika felt the blood drain from her face. The memory of Kusum's warm smile and comforting presence suddenly took on a chilling new meaning. She had traveled with a ghost, a restless spirit bound to the place where her life had been tragically cut short. Overwhelmed by the revelation, Champika's thoughts turned to Kusum's final words. "Some journeys we must take alone." The sadness in her eyes, the somber tone in her voice, it all made sense now. Kusum had been trying to warn her, to prepare her for the truth. In the days that followed, Champika couldn't shake the feeling of unease. She researched Kusum's story, learning about the circumstances of her death and the many accounts of her ghostly presence at the railway station. Each story shared the same theme, Kusum appearing to help those in need, guiding them safely to their destination. But beneath the sadness, Champika felt a deep sense of gratitude. Kusum had been a victim of a cruel fate, yet she had chosen to remain in this world, not out of malice, but out of a desire to protect others. Her spirit was one of kindness and compassion, and in her own tragic way, she had become a guardian of the night. Champika decided to honor Kusum's memory by sharing her story, hoping to bring peace to the spirit that had once been a guiding light in her darkest hour. She prayed for Kusum's soul, wishing her the rest she so deserved. As time passed, Champika's life returned to normal, but the memory of that night never faded. She no longer feared the darkness, for she knew that somewhere out there, Kusum was watching over the lost and the frightened, ensuring they found their way home. And every time she passed by any railway station, Champika would pause and say a silent prayer for the woman who had been both her protector and her friend. In the stillness of the night, she sometimes thought she could feel Kusum's presence, a gentle breeze brushing against her skin, reminding her that even in death, some spirits remain to guide us through the shadows.
Subscribe to our channel today and unlock the gateway to a world filled with captivating stories, mesmerizing adventures, and unforgettable characters. Each tale promises to whisk you away on an extraordinary adventure. Subscribe today and let the adventure begin.